Hey everybody, this is Headphone Candy with another tip on how you can get good at guitar fast. Okay, I've been thinking a lot about being a beginner guitar player. Now, I've been playing for 42 years. It's quite a while, but I do remember the pains of being a beginning guitar player. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he is interested in learning guitar, and he kind of wanted me to give him some pointers on how he could accelerate his learning and get good fast, because who wants to sit and learn for 15 years of struggling before you're any good at it? And that's what happened to me. I'd been playing for 10 years before I was even remotely not terrible. I wasn't even good. And that's a really, really long time. And I left 10,000 hours of, they say the 10,000 hour method. I left that behind at probably 10 or 11, 12 years old, right? So in thinking about this and thinking about how I learned guitar and the mistakes that I made and wanting to help other people get better quicker and accelerate their learning, I came up with a method, and I call it the Headphone Candy one chord method, right? Because when we're learning guitar, where most teachers get it wrong is they want you to, learn all these different basic chords. It's like, oh, that sounds great. That sounds great. There's 25, 30 basic chords. Let me learn all those. Well, except that's really hard. It's really hard to learn, go to C and then F. Well, you're probably not going to do a bar F. So then you got to learn, do I do the three or four? Anyway, that's a lot to think about. It's overwhelming. It's unbelievably overwhelming. My brain was fried when I was a kid trying to learn this stuff. And it took me 10 years to even begin to comprehend how I could go about learning this instrument. And I was self-taught, so I had one teacher in high school for a few lessons, but other than that, I'm entirely self-taught. But unfortunately, that takes 40 years to get good at something, and most people don't want to put 40 years into getting good at guitar. You just want to be acceptably good pretty quickly, right? Understandably, I would too. And this is how we're going to do that and how I'm going to try to help you do that. So the one chord method is literally just learning one chord. You're going to learn one chord, only one chord. And it's going to be the most simple chord, but arguably the best chord, at least according to Peter Buck of REM and many others. That's one of my very favorite chords. And what we're going to do is we're going to learn this one chord, and then we're going to move it all around the neck. And you're going to be able to do an unbelievable amount of stuff just with that. And I'll show you an example first. So the chord that we're going to learn is called E minor. Some of you may already know it, but you're going to apply it in a little bit of a different way, right? So that's kind of just a quick example of playing this one chord method. Literally, I am taking this one chord and I'm eliminating having to think about changing all these different basic chord shapes. So most guitar players just kind of play in what's called the first position down here. Right, so they just play all these basic chords down here. Maybe they get into bar chords. Right? And those are fine. I hardly ever use bar chords. It's kind of how I learned how to play guitar. I got sort of good at guitar, ironically playing along to Ramones records. Rocket to Russia, shout out. So, that kind of got me having to play fast right hand and, that kind of stuff. But that didn't help me as much as this one chord method, which is if we just learn one chord and move it all around, we're eliminating from our minds having to think about all these changes, which puts us in the kind of wrong brain of art and music. So we want to get out of that and into ourselves and into expressing ourselves. And that's what I want you guys to do. I want you to be able to accelerate expressing yourself and not having to sit and worry about all these rote memorizations. Because when you're first learning a language, you're learning C-Dick run. You're not learning how to write Shakespeare or something. So having to learn guitar and learn all this complicated stuff, it's just too much. So, but we're going to learn E minor. Very simple chord, and I want you to learn it with your middle finger and your ring finger. So your middle finger is going to be on the 2nd fret. These are frets. These little markers here are fret markers. So you've got the open string, the 1st fret, and then the 2nd fret on the 2nd string from the bottom, 1, 2. And then it's the easiest thing, and what's so great about it is there's only one other finger. It's your ring finger, and you put that on the same fret on the next string up. So the 2nd fret of the what's called the D string. So on the A string and the D string. And what I want you to do, I don't know if you can see this here, but I want you to kind of, with your ring finger, I want you to put it as close to the next fret, the 2nd fret, the end of the 2nd fret, as you can. So this fret marker. And that way, your middle finger can be kind of right in the middle of that 2nd fret, right? And it's going to take you a while if you're just beginning. I know it's going to be painful. It'll probably hurt, but just push your fingers down as hard as you can on that, and then just take a pick, or even your fingers if you don't have a pick, and just strum that chord. It's going to take a while. It's not going to be easy, but eventually you get it. And this is one of the most useful and most used chords that there is. It's a minor chord. It's not a major chord. So it's got the sad sound. That's the major. We'll learn that another time. But so it's just minor. And for as long as it takes you to get totally comfortable, just play this chord. It might be hours for some of you. It might be days. It might be weeks. It might be months. That's okay. As long as it takes you, you're just going to do that. Just hear the overtones, just listen to the chord. Try to be steady in your picking. Try different rhythms, different velocities that you're hitting it. And the whole point of the one chord method is that you're focusing more on what your right hand is doing rhythmically and melodically than your left hand, which is the exact opposite of how most people learn and teach guitar. It's all about the left hand controlling those things. But if I'm doing E minor like this, right hand is controlling that melody with one chord. I'm not changing these fingers at all. My left hand is staying in the exact same spot. What you can do just with that. Alright, so I'm just varying really basic things. So then the whole point of the one chord method is to, once you kind of have that, I'm not expecting you to be able to do that complex finger picking there, but there's anything you can do. Just the more you experiment, you're just going to experiment and find your own way. Once you have this chord where you feel comfortable, even if it's just basic strumming like that, that's fine, that's great. You're just going to move this hand, keeping your fingers tight like that, in the exact same spot that they are together, but you're going to move it all over, up and down the neck, wherever you want. There's no rules. It's wherever you want, wherever you like, wherever you think sounds cool. So it could be there. And that's up to B, kind of an F sharp minor form. so it's giving you a dreamy dissonance. So my whole thing is the dreamy dissonance. What most people wouldn't play or wouldn't even attempt. So that's what I want you to do. Once you kind of get this going, just move it up and down the neck, anywhere. So you've got E. And I call this F sharp even though it's really not, because if there was a bass it would be. It's kind of D. So it's just kind of like, you're moving up and down, and you'll figure out which parts you like, where it sounds, and which parts you don't. But that's just a basic start. We'll get more into other details another time. So that's the start of the Headphone Candy one chord method. It's to start on E minor, and that's really all you need for a long time, because you can write an infinite number of songs just with this one chord moving it around the neck. And that's what I want to see you guys do. Just get creative in different places, all over the guitar. So thanks for watching, and we'll have more next time. Like and subscribe. Any questions you have, I'm happy to answer, and let me know what you want to hear next.